Well, the Philadelphia 76ers just fell to the Toronto Raptors yet again, but don't worry, it's not as bad as we all think. Guys, today we're going to talk about the Philadelphia 76ers against the Toronto Raptors, and this little short regular season seeding games are almost done. Let's get to it, guys. Welcome, everyone. I'm your boy El Parcero Philly, united of all things sports and culture here in the beautiful city of Philadelphia. Today, we're talking about the Sixers facing off against the Toronto Raptors. This is the seventh game into the eight of this condensed regular season to finish the regular season here for the Philadelphia 76ers. Look, the Sixers lost, but it's not as bad as we thought because this is a meaningless game. Both teams, the play with their playoffs fates already set, matchup set as well. It was a good opportunity to give other guys some playing time, get them ready for just in case you do go through injuries within the playoffs. And you saw both teams put in some of the bench players, put in even some of the reserves. We even saw Shea get some minutes here in the game for the Sixers. With this loss now puts the Sixers record down in Orlando 3-4. We will see what happens in the next game, but more than likely they will go into the playoffs with a losing record down in Orlando. Now, even though this was a meaningless game, Brett Brown and Nick Nurse also wanted to kind of get some more playing time before they head into the playoffs. With knowing all that, JoJo was clear to play. We all know about the injury he suffered against the Portland Trail Blazers, getting that left foot caught up against the base of the net, and it was a little tweak of the ankle, but he seemed fine and he was clear to play, and he did start. He did play 14 minutes until he got hurt again. First half, it looked like he was trying to go for a pass, and Marc Gasol was trying to go for the swat. Got some of Joel Embiid's wrist, and he nicked it up a little bit, and he would leave the game right then and there. They even took X-rays on the wrist, and it came back negative. He was fine. He could have came back to play, but for precautionary reasons, Brett Brown did not return him back. He finished the game with 5 points and 9 boards. And listen, I went on Twitter and I saw the Raptors Twitter going at it again, trying to bring the whole JoJo versus Marcus Sol rivalry from back in the playoffs. And look, JoJo still did his thing in the playoffs. Let's not get that twisted. He did drop 33 points on Marcus Sol in Game 3, but we will see what happens in the playoffs. No Kawhi Leonard and no Jimmy Butler in between these two teams anymore. So other players are going to get their time to shine. If these two match up in the playoffs, I can't wait to see JoJo versus Marc Gasol again. I mean, but speaking of that Raptors team, man, listen, they still, even though they did lose Kawhi Leonard and lost Danny Green to that from that championship team, this is still a really good team. The starting line, it just, and it's the thing is too is the way they built this team. Like, they did make the trade for Kawhi Leonard, and they did for Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green, but still you got guys stepping up, the guys that they brought in, and the other teams kind of wrote off as well, and they went in and drafted some of these players too as well. Just look at the starting lineup like Kyle Lowry, Van Fleet, Norman Powell, Pascal Siakam, and Marc Gasol. These are all guys that they have found within the draft or some solid trades or just developing from that they were on the team already. Kyle Lowry in a Oscar-winning performance with all the flopping in this game, and Mr. Chris Boucher both led the Toronto Raptors in points with 19 points in this game. They both were on, and the Raptors in Orlando are 6-1 now. They really have been tearing it up, and they're ready for the playoffs. And it's crazy to think that Stanley Johnson, we all remember Stanley Johnson from the lottery pick with the Detroit Pistons in the early 2010s, and he gets this. He signed a 2-year deal 2 years ago with the Toronto Raptors as a free agent, and he gets the game winner in this game. If he can get himself 5 points, it's crazy the way they develop players. For the Sixers, we got to talk about Furkan Korkmaz. He's got his fair share of criticism throughout this whole Orlando tournament here for the Sixers. Defensively, we know he's a liability, and when he's hot, and he knocks down shots when he is on fire. But when you talk about in Orlando, he hasn't been hitting shots consistently. He's a defensive liability. It's been really, it's like it makes you wonder like what's his role going to be like in the playoffs. Well, today he kind of solidified that role there. He got his 21 points in this game. He went 5 from 9 from three. That's what we want from Furkan Korkmaz. Hopefully he can keep this momentum going and continue staying hot going into the playoffs there. Toby led the Sixers with points for the Sixers with 22 points. But the Sixers in general, like they were just fluid in the first half when most of the starters were together. Like they seem to be in sync, and that's what you want to see. And hopefully that they can get that free flow and play going when they face off in the playoffs. But I liked what I saw from the starters for at least the first half that they were playing together. Now going in the playoffs, Brett Brown has some questions that he needs to ask himself. The rotation, like there's some guys in these past couple games that have shown you that they actually deserve to get some minutes within the playoffs here. So obviously, the starting lineup is set: Shake Milton, Josh Richardson, Tobias Harris, Al Horford, and Joel Embiid. That's your starting five. But then, you got in my opinion, Alec Burks, Furkan, and Matisse Thybulle have locked their spots as the guys coming off the bench. But then you got guys like Mike Scott who played good in these past two games. Raul Neto actually also played good in these past two games. You ride that hot streak going as well. And then Glenn Robinson III can actually help you and contribute for you in the playoffs there. So these are guys that, it's going to be interesting to see how Brett Brown implements them within the playoffs. But these are some questions that we're going to look for going forward. In the last game, we're going to see more of these guys try to prove their case. The last opportunity to show to Brett Brown that they want some minutes in the playoffs. So next up for the Sixers, they will play the Houston Rockets on Friday night at 9 o'clock. And again, I think that it's going to be the same thing that we have seen in the last two games. You're going to see a lot of these guys who are, you're going to see your Mike Scotts in there. You're going to see your Matisse is getting a lot of minutes. Glenn Robinson, Brett Brown's going to go deep within the roster here. A lot of bench guys are trying to show and prove that they deserve minutes within the playoffs. So I don't expect much, and I think the Houston Rockets are going to be in the same boat too. I know Russell Westbrook is nicked up as well, and I don't think you want to risk any injuries to James Harden, who's most of your offense. So I don't expect much there, but we will see those individual performances and see who can step up there for the Sixers. And last but not least, the playoffs are set, guys. The matchups are set, and the Sixers will face off against the Boston Celtics in round one. And listen, I know it's been a bumpy ride so far in Orlando. I get that, but Boston and Philly in the playoffs? What else could you possibly ask for? Like I win or lose, I just want to see a good performance. I want to see what Boston and Philly always is, like a good brawl. I do like our chances, but I will dive more deep into it. But the Eastern Conference matchups are set. Boston and Philly. You got Indiana and Miami. That's going to be going as well. Jimmy Butler and TJ Warren. That's going to be a good battle in the playoffs. This is what we're asking for. You got Milwaukee and Orlando, and then you got Toronto and the Brooklyn Nets. So you got some good matchups here in the Eastern Conference, and I'm going to be excited to see what these matchups can do, especially our matchup with the Boston Celtics. But that's all I got for you guys today. In the comments below, let's talk about this game here. What was your takeaway here for the Sixers, and what would your rotation look like for the Sixers and their bench going into the playoffs? Thank you so much for watching again, guys. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell button for notifications, as well as sharing this video and this channel to help your favorite Parcero grow. And until next time, guys, I'm your boy Parcero Philly, telling you guys to trust that process. Talk to you soon, guys.